Hello and welcome to Understanding Narcissists. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I want to answer a question that I saw in the comment section. And it was, are all victims of narcissists enablers of narcissists? And I'm also going to throw in with enablers like codependence, whatever the current terminology is, just so nobody gets confused. And this is a marvelous question. And I really had to think about it. As simple as it sounds, I saw it, I think, a few days ago, and I was like, and I really had to think about it off and on over the past few days, because there's just a lot of considerations in this question. Really, it does kind of go to the heart of the matter. Who are victims of narcissists? Who are really proponents of narcissists, supporters of narcissists without realizing it? They're unwitting and even sometimes unwilling when they are aware. And thinking on it some more, I had to reach the conclusion that, depending on your definition, of course, I don't think all victims are necessarily enablers. Because I can think of several instances where a narcissist is going to exploit someone or a group of people, and they're going to be at least reasonably successful at it and get what they want. However, it does not therefore follow that that person, the exploited person, even though victimized, would make a suitable enabler. So the first thought that comes to mind is that around the periphery of a narcissist's life, the people they will see on a regular basis or not so regular basis, often in a casual, informal way, say like shopping at the grocery store or something, and they'll have kind of a rapport with this person who may be an enabler themselves to somebody else, may be very vulnerable, and narcissists are drawn to those people. They're certainly victims, though, but they don't have to be enablers. They may not be up to the task. And so there's kind of a counter example that answers the question. And so I would say that no, not all victims are necessarily enablers. And I don't want to misstep here and turn out to be terribly, terribly wrong, but it would seem to me that they are two different things. You will see people who can be exploited in a number of different ways because of personal shortcomings and vulnerabilities and whatever by the narcissist, and yet have completely different problems than what the typical enabler has going on. You will see a number of different people who can be easily exploited by the narcissist due to their own shortcomings and vulnerabilities or whatever, but do not exhibit the same kind of traits, same kinds of issues that enablers have, that are typical of enablers. And I think this really speaks to the real general application of a narcissist's methods and how effective they are at manipulating just almost anybody, except other people like them or other groups of people who just simply don't care or are not resonant to the sort of good faith that narcissists have going on, they have going for them, the good nature that appeals to the rest of us, that appeals to the enablers that want to come in and fix their lives. There's a whole group of people outside of that who are also vulnerable to such a message and such an image, but they're not enablers in the same way, or they are, but not to narcissists. Enabling is a general term. Well, I don't want to say general. I'm going to say it's a broad term. You can enable, your abusive husband or in his alcohol addiction, for instance. There can be a lot going on there back and forth, but there's no narcissism involved. And yet, often those same people will be vulnerable to narcissists, but they won't be like the spouse of a narcissist. And so I won't say that all victims are enablers. Now, generally speaking, I feel like they are, especially when they get to a certain rung in the abuse ladder, I guess, where there's people on the periphery. They're not going to go up the ladder. They're not going to get any closer to the narcissist. The narcissist is weeding and culling and figuring out who they can exploit, who can be of use to them. And when somebody demonstrates that they're willing to do more, little signs, little cues, where they can be manipulated and taken, that can be taken to another level, it'll happen, and the narcissist will have those people around, kind of on fish hooks. The first example I think of is the people the narcissist keeps around that are prospective partners in case their spouse, their partner leaves them. That's something I see. They have people kind of on a line, aside from just what I believe they do, which is cheat. And so with that going on, it's dynamic, it's always moving, it's always advancing, it's just what they do. You can see that they seem to differentiate between those who are enablers, those who they can exploit, and those who are really suitable enablers. And so I do think, even if it's a fine line, there seems to be the majority of people who are not necessarily enabling material, but the narcissist can still use and get something out of, even if it's just a little adoration, or a little, I guess, adulation is the word, and works for them, works for the narcissist. And it also occurred to me that there can be enablers from afar who, at a distance, like being friends with a narcissist and like to support them and get something in return, and often at the expense of the actual enabler, like the narcissist partner or spouse. So they can be kind of capital or a mob that the narcissist can kind of conjure up in times of need. Say when there's a question of who's the better character, the narcissist has to be the better person. So it's good to have a cast of people on the outside who believe the narcissist is a really good person, and that keeps the primary enabler in line. That keeps their family, their children in line. That can work a great deal for them. And it's interesting to note that this enabler from afar would not be able to ascend and enable, say, in the narcissist's own home. They are not cut out to be a spouse or partner, but they can enable from afar. And they're different from just the general victim in that they want to participate more in this sort of dysfunctional exchange. So with those examples, I do think that kind of sheds light on the question. It's a very, very good question. So I commend you for asking it. I wish I could remember their name. I'm sorry. I should have gotten it and memorized so I could, or even just print it out or something, or even pulled up so I could just read it and say the name. But anyway, I hope that answers your question. I hope you like this video. Like it if you do. Share it with somebody you think might benefit from it, or also like it. Comment in the comment section below what you think about this topic and the range of people that a narcissist really just uses. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful day. Bye.